Hello everybody, welcome to the show. Please hit the subscribe button and give this episode a thumbs up. The villa was glowing under the warm sunset as the islanders gathered near the laughter floating in the air and hearts beating a little faster because everyone knew the night was about to get wild. The host had announced a game of truth or dare, and whenever that happened on Love Island, chaos always followed. Jesse leaned back on the couch with his signature grin, eyes scanning the crowd, especially Deb, who sat across from him twirling her hair, looking half nervous, half excited because she already knew something was coming. The game started innocent enough. A few light days here and there. Olivia dared Isaiah to do a slow dance with Sydney and everyone screamed and clapped. The energy was high, people were laughing, drinks in hand, but then it came back around to Jesse and Deb, and that's when the tension started building. Everyone leaned forward knowing the two had a complicated vibe recently. Deb had been feeling unsure about where Jesse's heart really was. She liked him but wanted to see more effort, while Jesse felt like Deb doubted him too much, so this truth or dare was about to be their moment. Deb smiled and said, "Jesse, truth or dare?" And Jesse, without missing a beat, said dare because he was never one to back down. She smiled slowly, her eyes lighting up with mischief as she said, "I dare you to tell everyone your biggest secret about us, something you've never said out loud." Before the villa went silent, people gasped. It wasn't a flirty dare anymore, it was personal. Jesse rubbed his hands together nervously, his smile fading just a bit. He looked at Deb for a long second, then said, "You really want me to say it?" And she nodded, everyone chanting, "Say it, say it." Jesse stood up, took a deep breath and said, "Fine, my biggest secret is that I don't think Deb trusts me, and that hurts because been real since day one." The room froze. Deb blinked, her smile fading. The girls exchanged glances and the boys looked shocked. Isaiah muttered, "Bro, what the hell?" And Deb said, "Wait, what do you mean?" Jesse sighed, "I mean every time try to show you how feel you second guess me, you laugh it off like it's a joke, and it makes me feel like I'm the only one trying." The villa fell silent for a moment, then Deb stood up to her voice shaking a bit as she said, "Jesse, that's not fair, you know, like you, but sometimes don't know if you're serious, you flirt, you pull back, you confuse me, everyone's watching, and never know what's real." Jesse said, "I'm real, Deb, that's the thing we've been trying to show you, but maybe just needed this game to say it out loud." People started whispering, the air thick with tension. Then Olivia shouted, Okay, next dare, we're not fighting tonight." But the damage was done. Deb sat back down, her face red, not from embarrassment, but from emotion. She looked away for a moment, then back at Jesse and quietly said, "You really shocked me just now." Later that night, after the game ended, the villa was quieter. Everyone had gone off in pairs talking about what just happened. Sydney told Zeta she couldn't believe Jesse dropped that truth like that, and Zeta said, "Girl, that was deep, but sometimes you got to shake things up if you want clarity." Meanwhile, Jesse walked toward the balcony where Deb was sitting alone, her legs tucked under her and her hair blowing in the soft night wind. He sat beside her, not too close, but close enough, and said, "Hey, you okay?" Deb sighed and said, "Don't know, you kinda embarrassed me, but also maybe needed to hear it." Jesse nodded, okaying out at the stars, and said, "Didn't mean to embarrass you, Deb, but had to be honest because felt like was losing you and didn't know how else to say it." She said, "Losing me, Jesse? We're not even official." He smiled and said, "Yeah, but wanted us to be." The words hung in the air. Deb blinked, surprised she hadn't expected him to say that. She said, "You wanted us to be official? Why didn't you tell me before?" Jesse laughed softly and said, "Because every time tried to go deep, you crack a joke or change the topic." It thought, "Maybe you weren't ready." Deb said, "Maybe wasn't ready because was scared. We been in situations where like someone more than they liked me and didn't want that again." Jesse leaned closer, his voice lower and softer, saying, "Well, you don't have to be scared with me." The chemistry between them was undeniable, the way they looked at each other, the way the air felt heavy but sweet. The camera zoomed in slightly, capturing the moment for the viewers who would later comment 1,000 times about how real it felt. Deb smiled finally and said, "You know what, Jesse, maybe this game was blessing because it made you say what you actually feel." And G said, "Maybe it was because shocked you, ho." And she laughed and said, "Yeah, you did, you really shocked me." Down by the pool, the rest of the islanders were still gossiping about it. Sydney said, "I think that moment just saved them because now Deb knows his serious." Isaiah agreed, saying, "Jesse finally manned up." Zeta said, "Yep, sometimes truth or dare exposes more than you expect." And they all laughed, watching from a distance as Jesse and Deb finally hugged under the morning. The vibe in the villa was completely different. Everyone was relaxed, smiling, sipping iced coffee while sitting by the pool. Deb came out in her pink swimsuit looking radiant, and Jesse followed her with 2 cups of juice. The others teased them, saying, "New couple alert." And Deb just rolled her eyes but couldn't hide her smile. She said, "You guys are so annoying," but inside she was actually happy. Narration kicked in, the voiceover saying, "Last night Jesse shocked Deb during a game of truth or dare, but today things are looking sweeter than ever. Jesse and Deb might be back on track." Fans watching at home were obsessed. Social media lit up with comments, people saying this is why Love Island Peacock knew exactly how to stir the pot. But just as everything seemed calm, new islanders entered the villa later that evening and stirred things again. One of the new boys flirted with Deb right in front of Jesse, and she blushed a little. Jesse tried to play it cool, but you could see in his eyes that spark of jealousy returning. He said in the confessional, "I'm trying to trust the process, but watching someone flirt with Deb like that, it ain't easy," and viewers at home were screaming at their screens. Still, Deb later pulled Jesse aside, saying, "You have nothing to worry about, okay? I'm here with you, not him." And Jesse smiled, saying, "Believe you," and maybe this time he actually did believe her. Reality dating show on Peacock where contestants, also known as islanders, enter villa on secluded island for nearly 2 months with hopes of finding true love. The show has developed passionate fan base that tunes in several times a week for the chaos, drama, and romance that comes with multiple men and women living under one roof for an ended period of tea. Throughout the process, islanders are always at risk of being dumped from the island. However, viewers have to vote for their favorite couples to remain in the villa and win through the finale. The most recent season premiered on June and comes to an end on July. Watch party that will be hosted by a special guest, Nicole Jack from Jackie is Sacramento native, and love for fans meet and greet opportunity during the event. This is the biggest Love Island event in Sacramento history. West said on social media the season finale watch party is going all out. The drama is coming to an end. Join us for the Love Island. Every decision they make now revolves around their children, what kind of world they want to show them, what kind of peace they want them to feel. She says that Oregon had started to feel heavy, full of memories and expectations that no longer matched the life they wanted. She wanted to raise her kids in a space filled with calm mornings, quiet sunsets, and less noise from the outside world. Zach nods and says that parenting teaches you to value small things. It teaches you to protect your peace. And that is what this move is all about. They explained that they had looked at several houses in different states, Washington, Idaho, Montana, and even Arizona for a while. But each place brought new possibilities and new fears too. They wanted to be close enough to family, but also far enough to have their own life, a balance that took months to figure out. Zach says that one night he looked at Tori and said maybe it is time to stop being afraid of change and just trust the process. She smiled and said she already was. As start to pile up in their home, the reality of leaving begins to sink in. Tori says that packing up the kids' rooms felt emotional. Every toy, every photo, every tiny shoe carried a piece of Oregon with it. She says that she cried while wrapping up the first family photo they ever took in the living room. Zach hugged her and said that they were not losing memories. They were carrying them forward. They both agree that memories do not stay behind. They move with you wherever your heart goes. They share that their kids are excited about the move. Though too young to fully understand it, Jackson keeps asking if their new house will have a big yard and if he can build a treehouse there. Tori laughs and says that Zach has already promised that the first thing they will do after moving is build one. She says that moments like that remind her why they are doing all this. For their children, for their happiness, for a future full of laughter. Zach talks about how much he will miss Oregon's landscape, the misty mornings, the quiet fields, the smell of rain, and the sound of crickets at night. He says that the beauty of Oregon will always be part of who they are. But now it is time for new skies and new experiences. He says that sometimes the heart needs distance to grow, and that distance is what will help them heal old wounds and start fresh. Tori agrees and says that beauty is not in one place. It is in the way you look at life. Friends have told them they are brave for taking this step. But Zach says it is not bravery. It is survival. Sometimes you need to walk away from the noise to hear your own heart again. Tori smiles and adds that she has never felt more sure about something. Even though change can be scary, it also feels right. They open up about the family dynamics that played a big role in their choice. Zach admits that things with his father, Matt Roloff, have been complicated. He says that while he loves his dad deeply, the tension over the farm took toll on everyone. He says that conversations became arguments, dreams became disappointments, and at one point he realized that no piece of land is worth losing peace over. He says that moving is not about giving up, but about finding freedom. Tori says that she stood by Zach through everything, and she watched how much the whole situation affected him. She says she wants him to be happy again, to feel like he is building something of his own. She says that family matters, but peace matters more, and now they are choosing peace. They describe how emotional it was to say goodbye to their favorite spots in Oregon. The local park where they used to take the kids for walks, the coffee shop where Tori wrote her first blog post, the little lake where they used to watch the sunset. She says that each place holds a story, and leaving feels like closing a book that you still love, but you know you have to move on to the next chapter. Zach says that endings are not always sad. Sometimes they are beginnings disguised as goodbyes. As they talk about the future, Tori's eyes light up with excitement. She says she dreams of a place with open space and trees, where her kids can play outside all day, where mornings smell like fresh air and nights feel like home. She wants to design a home filled with light, soft colors, and laughter. Zach says that he wants to build a garden, maybe even start something small like a family farm, just not one that carries old tension, but one that grows with love. They both agree that the next chapter of their life will focus on simplicity, authenticity, and joy. No big productions, no camera schedules, just real life with real moments. They recall when they first told the production team of Little People Big World about their plan to move. The team was surprised but supportive. They understood that Zach and Tori had given years of their life to the show and deserved to focus on their family now. Tori says that she will always be grateful for the platform and the people who watch their story, but she also says that sometimes stepping back is the only way to find balance again. She says she wants her children to know her not just as a mom, but as their real mom who tucks them in every night and plays with them in the backyard. As moving day approaches, Zach says that it feels like both an ending and a beginning. He says that as they pack the last box, he can feel the weight of all the years they have spent here, the laughter, the tears, the lessons, the growth, all blending together. Tori says that every time she feels nervous about the move, she reminds herself why they are doing it. For peace, for love, for their children. She says that Oregon gave them roots. But now it is time to spread their wings. When the moving truck finally arrives, the neighbors come out to say goodbye. Some cry, some smile, all wishing them luck. It feels surreal, like watching a movie scene where everything you know starts to fade behind you. Tori hugs one of her close friends and says she will visit. But deep down, she knows this is a goodbye that means something deeper. Zach holds the kids close and tells them to wave one last time at their old house. And they do, giggling and waving, unaware of the emotions swirling in their parents' hearts. The drive away from Oregon feels long and quiet. Tori looks out the window, watching the familiar trees and roads pass by. She whispers that it feels strange leaving behind so much history. Zach holds her hand and says they are not leaving it behind. They are carrying it forward. He says that the next place will be filled with new laughter, new memories, and new peace. They both agree that sometimes God closes one door so another can open, and maybe this is their open door. As they arrive in their new state, they feel a MI of nerves and excitement. Tori says the air feels different, fresh and light. She says it feels like a blank page ready to be written on. Zach says he feels inspired again, ready to build something new with his own hands, something that belongs only to them. They both smile as they step out of the car. The kids run ahead, exploring, laughing, shouting about how big the new yard is. Tori laughs and says this is equally what she dreamed of. Over the next few weeks, they start settling in, unpacking boxes, arranging furniture, making new routines. Tori shares that the mornings feel calm. She wakes up with sense of gratitude. She